Joining me now to sort all of this out, Republican Congressman Mike McCaul of Texas, who led the investigation as chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Mr. Chairman, I know you've been very busy with this, and thank you very much. You've released it today. We're happy to have you. We want to talk about it. The White House issued this statement about your report, saying, quote, everything we have seen and heard of Chairman McCaul's latest partisan report shows it is based on cherry-picked facts, inaccurate characterizations, and pre-existing biases that have plagued this investigation from the start. As we have said many times, ending our longest war was the right thing to do, and our nation is stronger today. Now, that in itself is cherry-picking your report, so I want to go through it. What's your immediate reaction to their reaction to you?
Well, I mean, I think the report stands for itself when you look at it. I was a federal prosecutor. My intention was not to engage in a partisan exercise, but to find out what really happened. Why did things go so badly, especially with the 13 servicemen and women who were killed at Abbey Gate? And so it's done very methodically. I didn't have any advanced conclusion. It was all based on facts and evidence. The key takeaway, Andrea, was from our top generals, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs to CENTCOM Commander McKenzie to Miller, was that the military was told to do their job, and they did, and that was to retrograde and get out by July. State Department, by law, has a requirement to initiate an evacuation plan. State Department wholly failed to do that. So you had the conditions on the ground, and I was getting briefed on those real time as well. And then you have a rose-colored assessment that didn't want to admit that the threat was as great as it was. So the plan itself is not initiated until the Taliban has actually overrun Kabul, marching on its way to the embassy, putting everybody at risk, including Ambassador Wilson, who fled to the airport, left his 100 Afghan personnel behind to probably be killed by the Taliban. Thousands of classified documents, passports burned. Then the Taliban's put in charge of the checkpoint. They are the ones looking at the legal documents as to whether you can pass into HKIA airport. This never would have happened if they had had a plan in place. If you fail to plan to fail. And that's exactly what happened. And it culminates on a nightmare of a day with 13 servicemen and women being blown up, 170 Afghans killed, 45 Americans and Afghans are crippled.
Let me just say, you've developed some new information. We reported, though, on a lot of this in real time, that the visa plan was not developed during COVID by the Trump administration, and was certainly the special visa plan for our Afghan allies certainly was never developed in those months, those early months, by the Biden administration.
Yeah.
At the same time, the timing of this, you're releasing it the day before the big debate. So you say it's not partisan, but I want to get to a bunch of things here, but very quickly, why release it now?
Thanks for the question. Look, the first year we had to investigate, I was not in the majority. We did nothing. When I became chairman over the last 2 years, I wish we had this report out sooner. But the fact is, I had to subpoena after subpoena to get documents, testimony, had to threaten motions to compel to get the dissent cable from the embassy employees crying for help out of the embassy because they knew the Taliban was on its way. So it was not by accident on the administration's part. They wanted to stonewall this past the election. I will tell you, this investigation's not over, and it will continue after the election.
Let me just point out that you had an interim report in 2022, 2 years ago, which referred to Kamala Harris 2 times by name. And in this report, she's mentioned 251 times. That does indicate some partisan motivation here. But also, I want to ask you very quickly.
Well, we have more evidence. I mean, it took 8 months to get Jen Psaki to testify, for instance. That is what has delayed the report. The timing was not to be political. It was not to be on the same night of the debate, for God's sakes, or right before it. I didn't know when the debate was going to be scheduled. We have new evidence now, though.
And one final thing here, that there are Afghan allies who helped the U.S., who are still trying to leave the country, others who've come here still haven't gotten jobs. There is a bipartisan House bill that would have helped them. It was, first of all, part of the border bill that Donald Trump's influence on the Senate, despite the Republican leadership there, conservative Republican leadership, Senator Langford, that killed it. So, but why hasn't it gotten a standalone hearing by the House leadership, since the House has been Republican-led?
We talk about the SIV program. We talk about the Afghan Adjustment Act. There are discussions, Andrea, underway to get this passed in the National Defense Authorization. My view is like, look, if we're going to bring them here, of course they have to be vetted, but let's treat them humanely. What I really worry about the most were the Afghan allies and partners that we promised we would protect, and we violated that duty and that oath by not having a plan of evacuation, and we left them behind with the biometric equipment, by the way, Andrea, that the Taliban goes door to door, checks fingerprints, then takes them captive, tortures them, and then in some cases executes. This is an absolute betrayal, not to mention the women left behind who are extremely disappointed with Vice President Harris. They believe that she was going to be their savior. And I just saw today a mother and her child who just passed away due to malnutrition. Women have gone back to the Stone Age in Afghanistan, and it didn't have to happen. Lastly, I want to make sure it never happens again. That's been my ultimate goal here, is to develop legislation for this evacuation order, evacuation plan, to know who's in charge, to have it report directly to the Secretary, Diplomatic Security Corps, and make sure if we have a Saigon or Kabul, we won't see something like this again.
Well, I want to thank you, and thank you for your patience. I have reported extensively on this for the past 2 years, the women in particular, and appreciate the hard work. You're not from one of those House committees. The committee you lead is a serious committee, but I think that Donald Trump, in fairness, Donald Trump had a lot to do with cutting out the Kabul government and cutting a deal with the Taliban and locking in the United States to a withdrawal deal that Joe Biden's administration wanted as well. So both presidents have a share in this. Thank you so much.
I do have a comment if you want me to respond, but otherwise, I mean, Doha, when it was being violated by the Taliban, that's when the president decided to keep 2,500 troops, a light footprint, 6,500 NATO, air cover. Biden came in, go to zero. His spokesperson said, Doha's immaterial here. I made a campaign promise. We're going to pull out, go to zero. It could have been done differently.
Doha being the Taliban agreement that Donald Trump negotiated. Understood. Michael McCaul, Mr. Chairman, as always, thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrea.